Salutations and praise the table. I'm Anaru and this is Yuuken. It's a kind of strange name. Let me get into that. So the U part, it sounds very Japanese, by the way. The U part of it is meant to be sort of a soft feminine sort of sound, while the Ken, it's a hard, tough, has to do with swords sort of syllable. And so putting those two together makes for a character which at first guess might sound like a tsundere, and she certainly acts that way to myself, MOC, but she's more of just like a kind of hyper character, hyper energetic kind of... What are some more words? Help me out here. So, hyper-energetic, very passionate, emotional, but it's a robot. So, Omni was sort of something in armor. Excuse me, there was some noise I had to take care of. So, where was I? So, Omni was a weird thingamajig shapeshifter type person wearing armor. Gunner was a energy being sort of dwelling in a robot suit. But this Yuuken, she's kind of just a robot. Just a flat out plain robot. Nothing more to it. And so yeah, let's dive right into those plastic shins. Right down here. So these feet, I'm kind of proud of these feet. They look pretty unique. They're kind of custom. They got the Metro foot as a base, and like under that we have all this weird stuff. It doesn't wobble too much. Either way, it pretty much stays. It's kind of like a black rubber grip for the bottom of a boot, this boot thing. And these claw things on the side give it a nice, cool, aerodynamic sort of feel. It just looks really cool. And here we have some Czech Technic jammed in there to keep the foot from falling out. And that's it as far as the feet go. Now up to the ankles. We have a bit of... So some plain silver Inika limbs from Gali Mystica. Didn't actually get the set, just got these from Bricklink, because that set is kind of terrible. We have these... Now this... I don't think this is my design. These Metru chest plates just completely covering the ankles. Gee willikers, I'm getting all sorts of interruptions today. The battery started going. So these Metru chest plates as like this ankle armor, it doesn't inhibit posability too much. It's pretty alright. Don't need to move your foot too much that way anyway. Nothing much to say about that. A pretty recent addition are these finger greeble sort of things, covering up a bit of unused space. Now I'm not too abundant with things that I would be able to stick in this little space and fill that up with. It's pretty alright. It's an improvement over what it was, but maybe someday I'll put something in there, if I don't take her apart first. What am I saying? I haven't taken apart a MOC for freaking ever. Upper leg. Oh, no. Never mind. Front of the leg. I forgot to mention this Vizrak foot with the Pohatu Nuva claw. And that's pretty... alright looking. It looks pretty dang cool. Nothing much more to say about that. and then this wedged in the back to keep it from falling out. Also to fill up the very, very empty back. So I'm sure you can see by now that the under layer is black and the upper layer is silver, with some trans dark blue spread throughout. And so I always imagined the black to be this sort of rubbery substance, a little tougher than skin, I'd say. And so this leg is not very custom, but it has a lot of details added. Now, I did get this here assembly from, it was Kyler Nuva's Tyla. Ooh, fruit fly. Kyler Nuva's Tyla, but the armor is not the same. It's not a copy. So yeah, we got this Inika armor and this single Mari tube just threaded all the way through that. And you can see the back here. It's not exactly the same on the back, but it still looks pretty good. Let's go up to that crotch. So this is a little bit custom, standard Vaki pelvis, as you might imagine. It's got this thing, it's pretty wobbly, so we got this Technic lift arms here to keep it in place. And it sort of just looks like one single sort of underwear sort of piece. Some sort of crotch piece that just fits over the entire thing, even though it's not really connected in this part. You can see how that's connected. Pretty simple. We have a little axle connector in here to fill it up. Standard hand waist articulation thing. Can't go sideways, but it can go up and down, as you might imagine. A little bit of system put in here to fill up the space. Looks pretty nice. Looks like one solid mass, kind of. And then slightly upwards, there's just this kind of gap thing. It's not too noticeable, you know. The butt. We got these Borak eyes in here to fill up the empty space, and then another Metru chest. And a little bit of greeblage here. Just these, it's on a claw thing, and that goes into the hand connector piece in the waist. And that just sort of, yeah, you can see that. It looks pretty alright, if I do say so myself. And it doesn't inhibit articulation in any way very much. Sort of just slots in there. Pretty nice. Up about as far as we can go. Here's the chest. Standard Nuva armor. Looks pretty great. If you're thinking you might want to try the Nuva shoulder armor on the chest, then maybe you should try the actual Nuva chest armor on it first, and if you don't like that, then maybe you can go ahead. But chances are this will look better, it'll look more professional, people will like it more, they'll hate you less in the comments of wherever you're posting. So yeah, the custom torso is pretty complicated. Let me take off the chest, show you a little bit of that. Yeah, I painted a Technic piece, who freaking cares? Yeah. It's kind of cool how the actual neck is connected to the chest. Come on, get back in there. There we go. let's go to the arms for a second here. These arms are pretty alright. I usually don't have her with these skull spiders on her shoulders because they're usually on another MOC, Comus, but for the sake of presentation, I've removed them and placed them here because that's how she appears updated on all of the posts I have. You know, it's pretty alright. And then if she's like not out in the field fighting or doing anything, then she can like have this cute feminine figure with no bulky chest arm, freaking shoulder armor. The only other piece on her besides the mask and the greebles, the only actual armor piece that is trans dark blue is here on the arm. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's pretty spread out. It's pretty all right. So that looks pretty cool. And it also makes her look like Samus, but who cares? Every female MOC is pretty much Samus to some extent. This is just to a higher extent than most. And standard Hero Factory bone. This lower arm is custom. Oh. Let me get that. This lower arm is... Well, actually, well, you can see that better now, can't you? So yeah, you can see how that's constructed. And then she's got this Borok shield, and it looks pretty cool. And then, for some reason, I only have one of these black Hero Factory fists. It was because... Yeah, it was because one of the sets actually only came with one, and that's pretty dumb. But hey, it works for this MOC because her other arm is a freaking cannon. And it doesn't transform. That's kind of ridiculous to me. It doesn't friggin' use up negative fourth dimensional space to summon something that's bigger than your hand out of your hand. It's just permanently a cannon. It's one of these 2008 jet pieces. And yeah. Ooh. Let's go to the head. Now the head is very, very custom. In fact, we should be very careful with this head because this visor here, she uses it to emote, and if you happen to knock it off, she will get very angry. I know that from experience. Just some... Because, you know, if you take it off, then she can't emote anymore, and her face looks freaking weird, ugly. So that's a very sore spot. I really like these. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but they just look kind of cool. Just protruding from the back of her head. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention these rockets here. She's kind of like a Reaper from StarCraft. She's got these rockets. They're pretty cool. They're just wheel pieces on hand connectors with the Nuva shoulder armor. Oof. And so that looks pretty cool. Yet another Samus comparison. Samus's rockets aren't this big though, so one up in Nintendo there. These rockets do tend to get stuck under the shoulder armor, which is another reason I usually have them off, apart from the fact that they're a critical part of another MOC. Oh. Whew. So yeah, that has been Yuuken. Nothing much more to say, really. Ooh, knocked it. Bye-bye. One cool feature I forgot to mention real quick. Her Her head can sort of bird forward.
Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, that's funny.